Facebook Marketplace can be one of the best places to find retro games, or one of the riskiest. Meetups fall through, sellers stop responding, and sometimes you're left wondering if they're even going to show up. From nearly getting scammed to doing an entire game collection buyout, this is what happens when you risk your time and money on Facebook Marketplace. What's up, I'm Sharif, aka DualX, and welcome back to the Free Game Collection. This is a series where I try to rebuild my childhood PS2 collection without spending any money, and I'm here to answer the question, is Facebook Marketplace worth the risk for video game collectors? In this episode, I'm hunting for PlayStation 2 games entirely through Facebook Marketplace. I started this whole thing by doing what most collectors do: scrolling. Most of the listings I saw were either overpriced, scams, too good to be true, or just outside of my budget, which is currently $178. But eventually I came across this one. This is a listing for Silent Hill 2 on the PS2, listed for $100. That immediately stood out to me because I know that this game sells for around $165 or $175 on eBay, and I actually just acquired this game in our last episode, which is on my shelf right now. So if I'm able to get this one on Facebook, then I stand to make a pretty decent profit flipping it. Hi, I'd like to purchase this game. When will you be able to meet?
Cool. Did you look to see if you are interested in any of my other games for sale?
I'm interested in Lunar Silver Story as well.
Awesome. I can meet up tomorrow. Where are you located?
I'm free all day tomorrow. I live over in...
Awesome. I gotta drop my boyfriend off at work at 10. Would you be able to meet me in the parking lot around 10 to 10:15?
Eventually we agreed that if I bought both of the games she had listed, then I'd be able to get Silent Hill for $80, and that's an amazing deal. So I'm heading out now to see if this is legit. All right, so I've been sitting here in the parking lot for about 45 minutes. So she's messaging me saying that she's still coming here after she's done at the store she's at because she has to drop her boyfriend off at work over here somewhere. I don't know if any of this is legit because on her Facebook profile it says that she lives pretty far away from here, like over an hour and a half away. So I'm not sure why her boyfriend would work here. So this is always the risk with these type of meetups on Facebook, offer up apps like that. We don't know if they're actually going to show up, but sometimes you need to do these weird meetups in order to get some of the better deals. All right.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Let's look at the games real quick.
Yeah.
So you live down in...
I used to. Just moved up to...
Oh, okay. I was thinking, I was wondering why you were up here all day today. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, surprisingly, she actually ended up being a real person. Kind of annoying though was that even though I was the one who was sitting in the parking lot waiting for her that whole time, she didn't even try to come find my car. I told her where I was parked, and she just parked wherever she wanted to park, and then I had to go find her car. But I actually do a lot of these meetups to try to buy vehicles for my other channel that I'm converting into campers, and usually people are actually pretty good. But it seems like with games, sometimes there's just more sketchy people. You never know with these people, so that's why I decided to just wait because I wasn't too far from my house. But I did end up picking up the games, so let's get these home, open them up, take a look at them, and make sure everything is legit. From looking at it in the parking lot, everything looked okay. All right, I finally got the games home, and I didn't test anything yet, and the main reason why I was messaging this person was for this. This is Silent Hill 2. If you guys remember from our last episode, I literally just got this game on a Goodwill deal. A few commenters actually let me know why the greatest hits version is a lot of times worth more than the black label version, and that's because there's a little bit of extra content in the greatest hits version. But me personally, I just like having the black label on my shelf. It just looks a little bit better and more cohesive with everything. So after I test the black label one and make sure it works, I'm just going to kind of pick the best copy between the two of these to keep on my shelf, and then I'll be selling the other one. We ended up picking this up for $80, and then she also threw in this PS1 game that I've never seen before for $60. I looked this one up. This one is also a pretty expensive game, so I'm going to test this one, see if I want to keep it. If it's not up my alley, I can easily sell it, because just buying these two games right here, I ended up spending $140, which is almost my entire budget because I only had like 170 something. So okay, after testing both of the games, they both work perfectly fine. But in this case, I'm actually going to sell this copy of Silent Hill 2 and keep the one that I got in the previous episode. Number one, because of the extra content that's in the greatest hits version, but also this copy is just not as good. The case is a little bit more beat up, and the disc has a few more scratches on it. Manual is about the same, but I think I'd rather sell this one, keep the greatest hits copy, and use that as the one that I'm actually going to play. The PS1 game, this actually seems like a really good game. It's just not really my style after playing it for a while. They put a lot of work into the art, and they kind of made an entire anime out of it on these discs, which is pretty awesome, but it's just not my style, so I'm going to list this one for sale as well. Let me just get pictures for these taken, and then we'll have both of these up. They should sell pretty quick because these are very desirable games. All right, this is interesting. I've never done this before, but I was just looking around on Facebook Marketplace, sending people messages, and I ran across a guy who actually had a few games that were all worth $10 to $15, but he wanted $10 for all of them. And some of them are games that are actually on my list that I wanted to keep. So I sent him a message, and it turned out he had another game that he was willing to get rid of that's like one of the top games on my list that I always wanted to get. And he said he would throw it in the bundle and just sell me everything for $50. The weird part is that he said that he's going to be at work all day, and he left the games in his mailbox, and he's just trusting me to show up and put the cash in the mailbox and take the games. So I'm heading over to his house right now. This is a little bit weird, but hey, he trusted me. Let's not let him down. So that was pretty crazy. The games were in the mailbox, and I left the cash in the mailbox. And the reason why it was $50 was because of this game right here. This is GTA Vice City Stories. The initial listing was just for this stack of games right here for $10, which is already a no-brainer to pick it up because some of them are worth more than $10 individually. But one thing I've learned is if someone has a stack like this that they're willing to get rid of pretty cheap, if you just ask them if they have any other games, there's a pretty good probability that they do. So I asked the seller, do you have anything else for the PS2? And he just sent me a photo of Vice City Stories. So I'm sitting there thinking like, no way, because this is a game that I've been looking for a really long time, and he just happened to have it. So I'm also thinking he probably wants like $70 for it. But no, he wants $45 for it. And if I come to his house right away to pick up all the games, he'll give me the whole stack for $50 flat. If you're wondering why Vice City Stories is so valuable and why I want it so much, it's basically the forgotten GTA game of the PS2 era. I think most people know that it released on the PSP, but it actually came out on the PS2 after the PS3 was already out. It kind of just went under the radar. And I was one of those people that just never ended up playing it when it came out on the PSP. I was one of those kids that like memorized all the cheat codes on San Andreas and GTA 3, and I would just play through the game over and over again without ever actually completing it until I was much older. But the fact that I played those games so much and I never played Vice City Stories always kind of bothered me a little bit. And it's just incredible that I was able to find this game for such a reasonable price, and I can finally experience it and see if it really is the best GTA game. But outside of Liberty City Stories, there are actually some really decent games in this stack right here. I kind of just want to keep everything, but I know I cannot do that. I need to earn some more cash so that I can pick up more games. A lot of these have decent value in them, like the Scooby-Doo game here. It's worth $30. Or Pitfall, that's selling for around $20 on eBay right now. I guess my next steps is to test these games, make sure everything works, and then pick what I'm going to list for sale, pick what I'm going to keep. All right, after testing all of these games out, I'm thinking that I have this as my keeping pile and this as my selling pile. Resident Evil 4, Tak, and The Power of Juju. And this game's not on my list, but after playing it a little bit, it was pretty good. Now, in my selling pile, I already have Max Payne, and this copy isn't very good. This Pitfall game, I kind of want to keep it, but I'm going to sell it just because if I don't sell it, then I'm not going to have much money in my budget. And it's selling for a decent amount on eBay. Then this Scooby-Doo game, I'm also putting this in the sale pile. It just kind of played a little bit weird for me while I was playing it, so I might pick it up again later, but this is one of the more valuable games in this stack. Okay, Scooby-Doo has sold for $22, and then we ended up pocketing $16.41 for that. So I'm just going to package this one up and mail it out. These two are listed, but they're probably going to take a while to sell, so we're just going to continue on with the video while those are listed. Okay, that one worked out, but these interactions don't always go so well. So let me read you one of these that didn't work out, and some of you might actually be able to relate to this. Hi, I'd like to purchase this PS2. When will you be able to meet?
Yes, I am right now.
Okay, where would you like to meet?
How far are you from DT?
If you give me an address, I can be there right away. Well, several hours went by and he didn't reply to me again until after midnight. Now, keep in mind, I live in the northeast area of the United States and it's winter here. Now, because of what I like to call daylight wasting time, the sun goes down around here around 4:30. So I don't really like to do any of these meetups after dark, and I try to do most of them in the mornings because of that. But anyway, eventually he said this. He sent an address in a sketchy neighborhood.
We can do it tomorrow if you want.
He sent that after midnight, so I replied the next day. Yes, I can meet today. What time are you available? Are you still able to meet today?
Probably.
Okay. What time are you available?
Not sure.
At this point, I had given up on the conversation and basically stopped replying.
Got you tomorrow.
Another day goes by.
Yo,
I can meet before 4 p.m. I don't want to meet up after dark.
me either, gang. I'll let you know when I'm ready, Brody. Into the sun sets at 6, 7. Yeah, but I got you. I'll just let you know.
Several more days later.
Yo, you interested? And can you pay cash? Got you tomorrow or Monday. Nah then? Appreciate it though.
So needless to say, there's pretty much no way that I'm actually going to meet up with this guy. Not only because he wanted to meet in a sketchy neighborhood, but he also really wanted to meet after dark. But even if he wasn't trying to scam me or rob me or something, this guy was just so hard to actually try to meet up with. Communication with these type of sellers usually makes you wonder why they listed the product in the first place. If they don't want to sell it, it's going to be very difficult for him to find someone who's actually going to meet up with him. And I can't confirm. The listing was up for a while before I messaged him. It's a month later from there, and the listing is still up. No one has purchased this from him, and I don't think anyone will. So at this point in the series, I feel that my budget is high enough that I can start trying to purchase gaming bundles or small collections rather than trying to get individual games and consoles. That's usually where the biggest opportunities are, but also where things start to get expensive fast. When I first started looking, I noticed that a lot of people are charging way too much for these bundles that are mostly made up of common games or sports games. But then eventually I came across this listing that states it's for a PlayStation 2 with the Ethernet adapter. But I'm glad I clicked on it and started looking through the photos, because there's actually what I count looks like more than 50 games that's coming with it, and he's trying to sell it for $175. And a lot of the games in this pile are actually on my wanted list. If I were to purchase this bundle, I could sell the PS2 in that bundle, and they're going for around $100 to $120 right now. So I would be able to pay for most of the games, even if I didn't sell any of them and only sold the console. So after I messaged the seller, I realized that he had already marked this listing down several times. But after I talked to him, he actually agreed to sell it to me for $130. This means I could potentially earn a profit by selling the console and a few of the games, and also triple my existing collection at the same time. This guy said that I can meet him around 6 p.m. and that's usually the time where I finish up work. So I'm packing up right now, working on these vans, and I'm gonna head over to his place now and see if I can pick up these games.
Hey, how you doing, man? Got it buried in the truck in there. Yeah, I see you. Thanks for meeting me out here. Oh, no problem. Sorry, football, huh? Oh, no problem. Oh, we shot that. Oh, you got it.
Well, I knew there was gonna be a lot of games in here, but man, I didn't realize how many they actually had. I think they put more in here than they initially listed. Honestly, I'm not going to be able to go through all this until I get home because there's just so much of it. As you can see, this is quite a few games, a console, as well as some controllers and cords as well. So because I already have my own personal PS2 that I'm going to be keeping, I'm going to be selling this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a few different piles. One of them is going to be a sell pile and the other one is going to be a keep pile. And I'm going to be writing down in my notebook as I go what the value of all of these games are, opening them up, checking the condition, and then we're going to test everything. Alright, so I took inventory of all of the games before I test them and the system. I was just basically writing down every single game and what their condition was, if they were complete, disc only, or whatever. Dude told me he was selling me 50 games, but I counted 75 games, including some PS1 stuff. This whole stack right here is games that I think I'm probably going to want to keep. This stack is stuff that I think I'm probably going to sell, and then this stack is disc only or case only. And the bundle also came with this really cool PlayStation stand for your system. I'm probably going to keep that. Like, this looks pretty cool. Now, I didn't look up the value of any of this stuff just yet because I'm going to only take the value of the stuff that actually works. So I'm hooking up the system now and testing that, and then we're going to be putting every single game in that system and seeing if they run. All right, we got the new PlayStation hooked up. Open the tray. And there's a game in there. I was looking for this. Oh, the disk drive closed. This was one of the games that I was looking for, that it just had the case and the manual, but the disc was in the system, so that's good. So good news, it looks like the first game that I put in here is working, but it sounds like when the laser is moving back and forth in there, it's really loud. So I don't know what that's about, but it is reading the first disc. So play the little introduction of all 75 of these games to make sure that they read. I guess we'll take it from there. All right, that took me a really long time to test out all these games, but it turns out that only 4 games did not work, and surprise, surprise, 3 of them did not have the case. I went through on my notebook and wrote down the value of everything that works. The total value is $817. Now, that's a really good number, but that's only if you were to sell each one of these games individually, and there's no way I'm going to be able to actually sell all of these games. A lot of them have a really bad sale through rate. If you guys don't remember from my previous videos, dividing the number of sales in the last 90 days by the active listings, and that gives you a percentage. And I generally only sell stuff that's above a 50% sale through rate, and the majority of these games are well below like 20 or even 10%. Some of them are not desirable at all, and I didn't even find any sold listings. Of the things that are above 50% sale through rate, that value of items is $333. Now, that's also a really good number considering I only bought all this for $130. Now, am I going to get $333? No, because I have 2 stacks here, and this stack is stuff that I'm willing to sell, and this stack is stuff that I want to keep. So we only have the value that we can get from the sales stack. So I finally just got done cleaning all of these games. It actually took me 2 days because the stack was so big. But I have a quick tip for you if you're going through something similar that I went through, if you're doing this at home. A lot of the games that were in this stack actually had marker on them because somebody wrote their name on them. It was actually 2 different people wrote their names on these, so I don't even think that this was the guy that I got the games from. Okay, I'll be showing you on this case, and I didn't take it off of this one because this case was just so messed up already. All you need to do this is a dry erase marker. I don't know if it needs to be this brand Expo or not, but all you do is color over the marker with this, and you kind of just go over it, maybe 60 seconds or so, just going back and forth. And then you just let it sit for a second. Get a paper towel, or I actually like to use these cotton like makeup removers because they don't leave any residue after you wipe with them. And then you just wipe that dry erase marker off, and then the marker that was there is gone. But I do have to warn you that it doesn't work great on every single surface. It worked really good on anything that's slippery already, so like this type of case that has plastic on the outside. A lot of cartridge games it'll work on. Luckily it was just a Madden game, it's not really worth anything, but this game had marker on it, and I tried the same method, but that dry erase marker actually removed part of the label, so I stopped at that point, tested the game, it still works, but just the top of it is missing some of the label on there. So be really careful with it. It did actually remove a lot of the permanent marker that was on there, but it didn't entirely remove it, and it removed the label. So if anybody in the comments knows how to remove marker from disc labels or other type of paper material, let me know. I love to learn from you guys. So one of the cool things about doing this series is that as I'm going, I don't know everything, obviously, so when I'm posting these videos, a lot of the people in the comments are letting me know stuff that I didn't know before, and I'm learning as I go. Does anybody know how to remove these? I know how to remove them from here, just not from here yet. But anyway, after cleaning all of these up and the console as well, this is going to be our selling pile. Now, like I said, I already took all of the stuff that I wanted out of here, so there's not a lot of very expensive stuff in this pile, but there is stuff that's still like desirable games, even though it doesn't usually sell well, like God of War, Sonic Heroes, Gun, Shadow of the Colossus. There's some GTA games in here as well. There's good stuff in here. So what I'm going to do is pick some of these games out that are good games that just don't sell well and put them in a bundle with the PS2 itself. And that's going to let me increase the price that I'm selling that PS2 for. And then the rest of the stack is not really going to be stuff that's going to sell on eBay too good. So I'm going to keep that stack kind of separate, and then maybe I will trade it into a game store later on. If you're kind of noticing a pattern, I like to have a theme for each episode. So at some point I'm going to do a game store episode, and I'll be able to kind of have this as a stack of stuff that I'm going to trade in. So I'm just going to put together my package, take pictures, and list that. And then after I get that done, then I'll be able to show you the games that I'm actually keeping and adding to my shelf. Now, while I wait for that to sell, I'm going to add all these games to my shelf. But the problem is I had all of my PS2 games right here and my PS1 games as well. But throughout this series, we've actually been able to fill this shelf up, and now there's nowhere else left to put anything. But what I think I'm going to do is move my modern games, so my PS4, PS5, Switch games, over to my other shelf on the other side, and then maybe just have this entire shelf be retro games so that I can actually fit all of this stuff. Okay, someone actually just bought the console bundle while I was putting all the games away. So I'm going to print the shipping label right now, and then I'll let you know how much we're actually pocketing from this. Okay, so we sold this whole bundle for $160, but after all of the fees, we're going to be keeping $119.59. That's pretty good because we actually bought this entire Facebook bundle for $130. So we're selling just a little bit of what we got in that bundle, and we're getting back $10 less than what we actually paid for it. So I'm just going to take this to the post office and drop it off, and then we'll go over the games that I actually kept. Okay, that was a lot of work in this episode, but after all that, we were actually able to add 25 games to the collection on the shelf. That's pretty crazy because if you guys remember from our first episode, I started out with less than 10 games on the shelf, and now I've actually filled up an entire row and had to move down to the other row, so that's exciting. Now, unfortunately, 4 of those 25 games are actually disc only. As I get my cases later on, I'll be replacing those with these copies right here. A few more of these games I already had, but I switched them out with these ones because these were better copies. That includes games like Shadow of the Colossus or Crash and the Wrath of Cortex. In the case of this game, I actually picked this up in our first episode disc only, so I did get a case and manual for it. So this is obviously going on the shelf, and then I can bundle that other game in when I sell another console later on. There are also some games from my wanted list that were in this bundle. The Harry Potter games, Hitman, and Bully. Bully was one of those games that I always saw on the shelf when I was a kid, but just never picked it up for whatever the reason. And this is, of course, a Rockstar game, and as you know from earlier in this episode, I was a big Rockstar fan for the games that they made during the PS2 era, so the fact that I didn't play this just really doesn't make any sense. And after seeing gameplay of this game years later and hearing from friends that played it, I was really missing out on one of the best games on the PlayStation 2, so I'm really excited to actually play this and see what it's all about. And then there's a bunch of other games that I didn't even know about that were in this bundle that I tested out, and while I was testing it, they were all really good, so I decided to add all of those. Breath of Fire, Ghost Rider, The Legend of K, and a few others I had never seen before. In the case of Ghost Rider, this is one of those games that kind of slipped through the cracks. It was a movie tie-in game, so you're not really expecting much from it, but when I started playing it, it was obvious that this game had no business being this good for a movie tie-in game. This is actually worth like $20-$25 on eBay, which is pretty cool. Obviously, I'm not selling it, but it's just cool to know that there was some more value in that bundle. So after all this, you can see that Facebook Marketplace can be a little bit volatile, but you can also see why I'm going to be adding this to my arsenal moving forward. And to answer our question from the beginning of the video, I've now used Facebook Marketplace for everything from buying duplicate titles of games that I already have in order to flip them, all the way up to doing entire video game collection buyouts. And if you're patient enough to find the right people in your area, you should be able to find games well below market value and resell them in order to fund your own collection. Our final budget should be on screen right now, and as usual, everything worked out and we were able to collect all of the games you saw in this video for free. If you want to see how we got to this point, then make sure you watch the other episodes in this series. I'll link a playlist to all of the previous episodes in the description of this video. But in any case, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.